A busy day at the ballpark. Chase Field buzzing as trade deadline day comes and goes, and the D-backs were busy here in the desert. Some bullpen moves today as they bolster their relief roster ahead of tonight's game with Texas. Join us for D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly along the way as we conclude this quick two-game visit from the Texas Rangers. The D-backs front office already busy this year acquiring new players. John Jay, Matt Andriese, and Eduardo Escobar. But on trade deadline day today, Bob, they bolstered the bullpen, got a couple of relief arms.
Yeah, one guy we're very familiar with in Brad Ziegler has been here in Arizona before, and Jake Diekman, if you were at the ball game last night or watching, we got a real good look at him last night. Came in to retire the final 3 outs of the ball game, 2 on strikeouts. Big arm on a left-hander. Banny, the manager of the Texas Rangers, said he's the best athlete on the team, so that is really saying something about the left-handed reliever.
Well, it was a less than athletic walk from the Rangers clubhouse across the ballpark to the Diamondback clubhouse. Diekman instead did it in style. He took the bullpen cards.
Very nice. That's not the intended use for the bullpen card, but it serves its purpose today to get the pitcher from one clubhouse to the other, get him in a real uniform.
So he was a Ranger last night. He's a D-back tonight as we wrap up this two-game set. Now for an idea of what the bullpen looks like going forward, keep in mind Andrew Chafin right now on paternity leave. Brad Ziegler's not here yet. But from this point on, this is pretty much what it's going to look like.
And I really like the looks of this bullpen. You've got a little bit of everything. They brought Brad Ziegler on board, as we know, a dead ground ball pitcher. And with that great infield defense behind him, he really figures to get some key outs the rest of the way.
Well, tonight it's Zach Godley against Bartolo Colon, the D-backs and the Rangers. Next on Fox Sports Arizona. D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By Tire Pros of Arizona, everything rotates around you. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. Is brought to you by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free Jumbo Jacks only
at Jack in the Box.
By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By One AZ Credit Union. Let's bank together. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. Well, we think the lights should stay on for this one. D-backs and Zach Godley looking for a 2-game split with Texas. And the first pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Rangers, Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, Kate Longworth with you. After the Rangers won last night's series opener 9-5, Texas last in the American League West. They're 21 games behind Houston for the division lead, but they're playing really well right now. They've won 4 in a row after sweeping the Astros over the weekend and getting the win last night. Here's the Texas lineup. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Right fielder Shin Soo Choo with 2 opposite field home runs in the ball game last night will lead it off. Rougned Odor playing second base. He also homered in the game last night. Elvis Andrus will be at shortstop. Adrian Beltre, the veteran, down at third base. Big power from Ronald Guzman at the first base position tonight. Robinson Chirinos once again doing the catching. Willie Calhoun getting the start in left field with Carlos Tocci playing center field and big Bart Bartolo Colon on the mound.
And for the Diamondbacks, your Ram truck starting pitcher is the right-hander Zach Godley. 11 wins, a 4.73 ERA. Zach unbeaten in his last 5 starts.
Last couple times out, it's been quite a slog for Zach Godley, throwing a lot of pitches, walking a few guys. 3 starts ago, he had perhaps his best outing of the year against the Atlanta Braves, a 6th inning, 1-run, 5-hit performance. That was a D-backs 2-1 victory down in Atlanta.
For a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense tonight, that's provided by E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
A.J. Pollock patrolling center field tonight. John Jay in left. Steven Souza Jr. over in right field to be Eduardo Escobar at third. Nick Ahmed at short. Daniel Descalso at second. Paul Goldschmidt over at first base. Alex Avila with really good career numbers against Bartolo Colon will do the catching tonight for right-hander Zach Godley.
Our plate umpire tonight is Chris Siegel calling the balls and strikes. Tim Timmons at first base. Mike Malinsky at second. And there's the crew chief at third. That's Angel Hernandez. Bob, time for your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
Well, we knew this Texas Rangers ball club was capable of doing what they did last night. If they want to slug, we'll slug. That's what Gracie used to say every time the opposing team would score a run or two in the first inning. He'd come back to the dugout and say, if they want to slug, we'll slug. Well, let's slug with them tonight.
Well, one of their big sluggers will lead it off from last night. Shin-Soo Choo, 280 and 20 home runs. He homered twice last night, knocked in 4 runs. D-backs have the shift on, and we're underway in downtown Phoenix with strike one. There's that Godley sinker. StatCast AI powered by AWS. That's how they defend the Texas right fielder, who does not consider himself, he says, a power hitter, but he's now got the 6th 20 home run season of his career, and he's on pace to go well past his career high of 22. An all-star this season for the first time ever at the age of 36. That one's fouled away.
I mentioned 2 home runs to the opposite field last night. One just snuck into the bleachers in left field. The other got way back into the bleachers. He really drove the ball the other way in the game last night.
There's Robbie Ray. Robbie had a tough night last night. Only gave up 2 hits and 5 1/3, but the control was not what he liked. Choo in the 5th and in the 8th.
Yeah, that was just a fastball out over the plate from Robbie Ray. Gets about 3 rows deep. And then Matt Andrews gave up another one a little bit deeper into the bleachers in left center.
Curveball, ring him up and sit him down. A good one from Godley. Critical that he land that pitch for strikes.
We kind of joked about it last night. You may see nothing but fastballs from Bartolo Colon and nothing but curveballs from Zach Godley tonight. But if that's the formula that's going to work against this aggressive swinging Texas Rangers team, then go do it.
Choo caught looking at a breaking ball. Here's Rougned Odor. 268, 10 home runs. The little power hitting second baseman who is red hot right now. 7 for 14 in his last 3 games. He homered here last night. He was the first batter that Matt Andrews faced and homered. Ahmed cleans that up with the shift on. 6 pitches, 2 outs for Godley, brings up Elvis Andrews.
Shortstop, number 1, Elvis Andrews.
Andrews, another slugger. He doubled and tripled in last night's game. So he's now hit safely in 11 straight. Texas last night, 9 runs on 12 hits. They were shut out for the first 4 innings by Robbie Ray, but then Jeff Bannister's crew got 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th and 7th, 1 in the 8th and 9th.
Andrews about ready to hit. He said hello to everybody in the stadium before getting into the batter's box there.
Oh, he's just a friendly guy, that's all. How you doing? How you doing?
Yeah,
Good
said
to see
hello to
you.
the plate umpire, had a little conversation with Alex Avila, turned around and waved to Torey Lavello and the staff over there in the third base dugout. Oh, all right, let's play some ball now.
Godley throws that cutter in there. That's a pitch that has gotten Zach in trouble from time to time. He's not had consistent control with that cut fastball. Sometimes he'll yank it way down and away from right-hand batters. Able to land that one for a strike and then pull that one a bit. 2 balls and 1 strike on Elvis Andrews.
That cutter at times can be a little bit like a straight changeup. You have to trust that the grip is going to make the ball do what you want it to do instead of trying to manipulate it. And that's what it looks like Zach tries to do from time to time. Really pull that cutter outside.
Threw another one there, but it's lifted high in the air to center for AJ. Good start for the Bulls. Zach Godley, Diamondbacks coming up. Mike Hazen, you made it. Trade deadline day is done.
That is.
How'd you do?
We'll see. Right? We'll see. I made it physically through.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that's all that matters is what happens with the club, right?
Well, we got a big league bullpen right now. Some very nice additions here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's you know, it was a focus of ours going through the year. We've had a great bullpen the whole year. But you know, we've run them pretty hot, and as we get through the second half of the year, we want to make sure they stay pretty fresh.
John Jay leads it off for the D-backs. Jay in left field. David Peralta is available to hit off the bench and should be back in the lineup on Thursday. We're talking with Mike Hazen after the additions of Brad Ziegler and Jake Diekman. As Bartolo Colon knocks that one down. Yeah, you mentioned it. It's odd. The bullpen has been just about the best in the National League, Mike, for most of this year. Yet the two moves on trade deadline day, relief arms.
Yeah, I think as you go through a full season, those innings just end up piling up on you. And our starting pitching's been great and been getting us pretty deep into games for the most part. So, but you know, when you look at Yoshi, Box, and Archie, and Chafe too, you know, they've taken the brunt of it here, and specifically recently, and that's what's going to happen when you go down the stretch. And so we wanted to try to give Torrey as many options as we could to pitch in those games where if Yosh needs a day or if Archie needs a day, that we're not missing anything, you know, or feel like we're missing anything.
And I thought it was particularly interesting in Brad, and everybody here knows Brad Ziegler. You've got the low arm slot right-hander, kind of a specialist in a sense, a guy who's closed here before. And in Diekman, you get the opposite. You've got the hard-throwing left-hander, another guy who you could maybe qualify as sort of a specialist or at least have a specific role in that bullpen.
So we don't really focus too much on that part of it. We think both of those guys can get through full innings, both lefties and righties. They do it a little differently, as you said. But you know, Brad puts the ball on the ground quite a bit.
Goldie, tough play for Beltre. What a throw! 5 Gold Gloves and a place in Cooperstown. That's why.
And with Jake, you know, from the left side, there's a little bit more of a power element, I think, to the bullpen that, you know, we have a diversity of looks, but not necessarily, you know, we wanted to add a little more power. So those are the two areas that we ended up being able to push deals across.
The addition of Eduardo Escobar has been universally applauded, not just by Diamondback fans, but all over baseball. He seems like he was an outstanding fit and has been from what we've seen so far.
He's been a really good hitter for the last 2 years, and we were looking for a way to add to the middle of our lineup, knowing that Lammer was going to be down a little bit. And, you know, that move seemed to make sense to us when we took that injury in Chicago. You know, we had been exploring different types of deals, what we could do to add to the club, maybe someone move around a little bit, and he can do those things too. So that's why we were sort of talking to him, and then, you know, when that injury happened, it sort of sped our time frame up a little bit.
I'll go back on one of the previous trades that the Diamondbacks made. Alex Avila. Now, he took a lot of heat early in the season, struggled to get it going offensively, but over the last couple weeks, Alex looks like the guy I think you expected to get. Yeah,
you know, when guys, you know, look, every time a guy steps into a new environment, we always fixate on that first period of time, that first impression, and that's real. You know, it's something everybody has to grind through, and the baseball season has a way, though, when you play it long enough, and
AJ hits a ball deep center field, and that ball is gone. 1-0 D-backs. Well, I think for the time being, you're in pretty decent shape in center field.
Yeah, we're a different club when AJ's playing.
No doubt about it. Yep.
But having Alex back there, you know, the couple things we try to do with our catching, and we've talked about it quite a bit. It's not that we don't expect offense from that position. That's not what we prioritize from that position. We want those guys going out there and getting 9 innings out of our pitchers every night. And Alex has done an unbelievable job at that, even when he wasn't hitting. And I think that's a tough thing for a big league ball player to do, right? You're not hitting and taking your offense to defense, and he never does that and has not done that. It's good to see, though, because every baseball player wants to hit a few bombs every now and again, you know, to feel good and adding to the offensive side. So it's a, you know, having him from the left side of the plate, given that Mathis and Murphy are both right-handed, you know, he's going to line up against a lot of right-handed starters, and so to have that threat down at the bottom of the lineup it just lengthens things out for us.
And with guys like Alex Avila and Steven Souza Jr., you really do have to let the storyline play out, don't you? You can't get fixated on a week or a month or even a half a season.
I think so. You know, I don't think we've necessarily played our best baseball, which I sometimes, you know, can become frustrating for all of us. But sometimes, you know, when we get the group sort of together, everybody's healthy, nobody's, you know, through that transition period anymore. Or do they have enough on a rehab assignment, getting their timing down? It'll be fun to watch what this team can do for the next 2 months.
A half game out of the division lead. Dodgers are up there. They're hosting Milwaukee tonight. Yet to get underway. It's going to be a fun 2 months.
We hope so. You know, we think we can play a pretty good caliber of baseball.
Souza hits a fly ball to right center. Shoe is there. Mike Hazen, get some rest. You've earned it.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for coming by.
Nice job, Mike.
1-0 Diamondbacks. And you can play along with our 50-50 charity raffle presented by the Arizona Lottery from home along with all of us at Chase Field. Win half the pot, help the kids in our community. Get your tickets online during every D-backs home game on Fox Sports Arizona at dbacks.com/5050 raffle. And the winning numbers on the post-game show. Jackpot's already over $3,700, and it's only the second inning. Here's Adrian Beltre to face Zach Godley, who worked a 1-2-3 first. Our thanks again to D-backs GM Mike Hazen, who we know is tired. His whole group, Jared Porter, Amiel Sade, those guys have been working nonstop over the last several weeks. That pitch was inside, but Chris Siegel says strike two.
Yeah, while Mike Hazen was in the booth, you clearly saw A.J. Pollock going deep to straightaway center field. You had the feeling that that was coming. A.J.'s hit a lot of very high fly balls lately, just a little bit underneath the pitch.
Well, this is a good start for Zach Godley. 4 up, 4 down, 2 strikeouts as he gets Beltre with that cut fastball.
Awkward looking swing from Beltre that time.
Number 67.
Not only late, but that pitch moving away from him just off that outside corner. Chases a bad pitch for strike 3.
Boy, you're right, Bob. If he can just have that cutter a little closer to the corner, down and away from righties, that should make a world of difference for him. Now here's Ronald Guzman, and this guy is an interesting story. That one went right behind Godley on it. It's short, and he got him. Oh, it's one highlight reel play after another for Nick Ahmed.
Positioned up the middle of the field. That ball's hit to the second base side of the bag. Nick's there with the dive to throw Guzman out at first base. I mean, obviously a gifted athlete. Very quick first step. Very strong throwing arm. Great hand-eye coordination. But also is positioned right where he needs to be almost every pitch.
2 outs on 4 pitches in the second. Here's Chirinos, the catcher, who was on base all night last night. He walked. He had 3 hits, including a double. Going to say about Guzman, he put on a show in batting practice that was up there with the best we've seen.
Well, when it brings the icon into the booth to point it out to us, Luis Gonzalez came running in here and saying, "Are you watching this guy? He's hitting balls in the upper deck in right field."
He was hitting some balls, and we caught the tail end of it. Yes, he went, says Tim Timmons, into the draft room up there where the seats are. So we'll get a look at Guzman a little later in the ball game. 0-2 on the Rangers catcher Chirinos. Boy, Godley throwing strikes, 16 pitches, only 3 balls, 5 up, 5 down, 0-2 on Chirinos. Bounced a curveball up there. D-backs 10 over 500, a half game behind the Dodgers for the lead in the National League West. LA hosting Milwaukee tonight. Colorado's only 1 game off the division lead. The Rockies lead at St. Louis 4-1. They're in the 6th. Giants already won in San Diego this afternoon as Chirinos is on board again. Dunks a 2-out single into right center. Left fielder tonight is Willie Calhoun. Had an RBI single as a pinch hitter in last night's ball game. 235 and a homer.
You mentioned Chirinos on base again. He had 3 base hits in the game last night. He also walked, scored twice, drove in a run. But with all the slugging home run hitters in this lineup, if you hit lousy singles, it's going to get lost in the box score.
Yeah, he did it all. Scored twice, had an RBI, stole a base. A little bit of everything. It rolls away from Avila, and now Chirinos is at second.
That's that spiked fastball, sinker at 91 miles an hour. And that is way out there in front of home plate, off the heel of the glove, off the shoulder, and over into the on deck circle to allow Chirinos to move into scoring position with 2 outs.
Calhoun, the hitter, just called up from the minors about 10 days ago. He's only played in 11 games with Texas all year. D-backs have 3 infielders on the first base side. He fouls that one off behind first base coach Steve Buechele. Calhoun was a 4th round pick by the Dodgers out of Yavapai in Prescott. Texas got him at the deadline last year in a deal for Yu Darvish. Made his major league debut last season as a September call up with the Rangers. He's only 23, Willie Calhoun, and the body does not scream outstanding defensive outfielder. It just doesn't quite fit. They're sort of looking for a place to put the bat. Profiles as more of a DH type. Cutter misses in, and now he's behind on Calhoun, 3-1, with Tochi, the center fielder, on deck.
Calhoun wasn't with the team on the 4th of July, but he has the right socks on.
Another cutter. Godley's misfiring with that cut fastball again. That's his first walk. So he'd set down the first 5, and with 2 outs, a single and a walk, put 2 on for Tochi. Tochi, the rookie, a 153 hitter. He was 0 for 2 in the ball game last night. And one of the highlights of this game, as you look at Chirinos at second and Calhoun at first, will be watching Bartolo Colon hit. And he will be the on deck batter, but he's not quite made it out there just yet. Curveball just missed the corner. 1-0. There's Big Bart.
Watch Bart come up into the on-deck circle, as you said, taking his old sweet time, putting the batting gloves on, and he stopped directly in front of the camera down there on the first base side and looked over his shoulder and realized he was blocking the shot, so he backed up out of the way.
Oh, he's a professional.
Yeah, not his first game. Looks like Bart wants to stay as far away from home plate as possible in that on-deck circle.
Don't make me go up there. Well, he did hit a home run a couple of years ago with the Mets. I believe it was in San Diego.
Yeah, you're right.
And that created a round of applause all over the major leagues. He's not a natural hitter. Now keep in mind, Godley lately has gone to extra efforts to control the running game when he's got traffic around him on the bases. He does not throw over the bases to keep runners close. Instead, he holds the ball or steps off or stares them down. That's foul behind Tony Beasley at third, and it's 1-2 on Carlos Tocci. This is usually the count where Godley goes to the curveball. He calls it a spiked curve. He does not like the term knuckle curve. That was it right there. A swing and a miss. Gets his third strikeout and strands two. It's 1-0 Diamondbacks.
The second, and we want to take you back to 1997. A baseball franchise in Arizona was just a dream. A gallon of gas cost just over $1, and the Titanic movie hit the box office. Also, Bartolo Colon made his major league debut, as did Miguel Tejada, Todd Helton, Chris Carpenter. The only difference, those former All-Stars have since retired, but at 45 years young, Colon is still going strong. He was born in the Dominican Republic in 1973. He's currently the oldest reigning baseball player right now at 45 years old. And the D-backs youngest player on their active roster, Marte, well, he is also from the Dominican Republic, and I talked to him about what Colon means to their country. He said he's a hero to him. He hopes his career can go as long. And I said, do you remember the first time you saw Colon pitch? And he said, how could I? I couldn't even talk yet.
Those were the days, huh? Yeah, you're right, Katie. Has been in the major leagues, Bartolo Colon, longer than the Diamondbacks have existed. Certainly at the major league level. Broke in 1997. Here's Eduardo Escobar, the third baseman, leads off the bottom of the second. It's always a treat to watch Big Bart pitch. Escobar hits one to right. Chu runs it down near the line. Here's the D-backs lineup. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
John Jay led it off out in left field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. A.J. Pollock with that solo homer to center field will play center field. Steven Souza Jr. will be in right. Eduardo Escobar just hit a bomb to right field there that died near the warning track. He'll be at third base. Daniel Descalso at second. Nick Ahmed at short with Alex Avila catching for right-hander Zach Godley.
Day off for Ketel Marte. Descalso in at second.
Now on the current Diamondbacks roster, John Jay was 12 years old when Bartolo Colon made his major league debut back in '97. Ketel Marte, the youngest player on the roster, was only 3 years old.
Well, Bart throwing that sinker this year. More than 60% of the time, he just kind of pounds away at the strike zone with that pitch. After that, he's got a four-seamer, a changeup, and a slider. He's a strike thrower. And he catches Descalso looking at a fastball. And Daniel does not like the call by Chris Siegel. First strikeout for Cologne. E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the Rangers defense.
Willie Calhoun checking his cheat sheet out there in left field. Carlos Tocci in center field. Shin-Soo Choo will be in right. Adrian Beltre and Elvis Andrus on the left side of the infield. Rougned Odor and Ronald Guzman on the right side, with Robinson Chirinos doing the catching once again for right-hander Bartolo Colon.
Nick Ahmed has already turned in a sparkling defensive play. Nick at 240, 14 home runs. Oh boy, if Bart gets that call all day, he's going to have a good night. Another Diamondback hitter with a word or two for Chris Siegel back there. Fly ball left center. Calhoun. And Cologne makes short work of the Diamondbacks with an 8-pitch second. 1-0 D-backs. Lead as we start the third. Time now for Lowe's. Whole team together. Boy, Bob, Diamondbacks last 9 games pretty good.
Well, you're finally getting everybody back on the field healthy. Guys swinging the bats the way they're capable of. You'd like to think that those numbers might even be improved upon in the last couple months of this season.
All right, let it wash over you. Here is Bartolo Colon to lead off the Texas third against Zach Godley. We flash back. This was it. 2016 in May, the Mets in San Diego, and Bartolo Colon Hits it just shy of the Western Metal Supply Company building. Big game, James Shields. So it can be done, but first Godley's got to throw a strike.
Although walking Bartolo Colon, putting him on base, might not be the worst thing to start this inning. Make him stay on his feet the entire half inning.
Look at it, everybody's on the edge of the dugout. Yeah, the entertainment factor might just increase. Although I know you were down there talking with Jeff Bannister today about what's it like to have Bartolo Colon on your staff.
Oh, he had some amazing things to say about Big Bart. First of all, he said when I go to the mound to take him out of a ball game, he always thanks me. Thank you for the opportunity to pitch.
How about that, huh?
I said even in some of those games where maybe he didn't think he should have come out of the ball game, he says, well, then he'll go to the dugout and wait for me to come back from the mound and thank me then.
Well, took a home run swing that time, and it's 2-2. And is caught looking at a curveball. That's the 4th strikeout for Godley. Well, when you're 285 pounds and 45 years old, every day you get to go to the yard is a gift.
Yeah, and he works extremely hard. He's got a routine that he does on a daily basis, spends a lot of time on the exercise bike and working out with rubber bands and light weights, 5-pound weights. He talked about going into the weight room and all the young pitchers were in there throwing around hundreds of pounds and squatting and doing all kinds of power lifting. And there was Bart over in the corner with 2 5-pound weights going through his routine.
Like actually working out.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the kids must have asked him, you know, hey, what's the deal? You know, we're over here lifting hundreds of pounds and you've got 2 5-pound weights. And Bart says, yeah, your fastball goes like this. And he indicated straight as an arrow. My fastball goes like this. And he indicated down toward the ground. Well, he's found something that works for him, that's for sure. For a guy his age, with his experience, the number of innings that he's logged at the major league level, he still gets people out.
He's in his 21st season in the major league, still pitching effectively at the age of 45. Here's Chu. Fouls off a curveball, and it's 1-2.
Right off the inside of that right foot. And if you've noticed Chu in this short 2-game series, he's up on his toe as he's waiting for the pitch, and then he does another toe tap as the pitch is on the way. That right foot's very important to his swing.
Bounces one to Descalso at second. Shift is on. 2 outs.
That's something we kind of overlook over the course of a long season. We see guys foul a ball off their foot every night. Somebody fouls one off their foot. But when you think about the batting stance and shifting your weight from the back foot to the front foot, well, if you've got a big old bruise on the inside of the ball of your foot or the arch of your foot or your big toe, that hurts when you come down on that front foot. And sometimes it will change a guy's swing, occasionally for the better. Land soft on that front foot instead of coming down too hard.
Rougned Odor, the second baseman. Godley now working his way through the Rangers order for the second time. There's that sinker for strike one. Odor's home run last night is 4th in 8 games. He's been red hot. It's a high fly ball toward the right field corner, slicing out of play.
Their partner, tall order for the Mets in the final couple innings of this ball game tonight against the Nationals. They trail 25-1.
Wow. Jose Reyes, I believe, was pitching. Yeah, it's up on our board as 5-1 in the 9th because they don't have the room to put the 2 in front of the 5. They've gone off the board.
A whole bunch of crooked numbers in that box score for the Nationals, up and down the lineup.
Well, I guess it's a good thing they decided not to trade Bryce Harper.
Harper actually did not homer today. Pretty much everybody else did.
Yeah, they should have traded him. Rockies still leading in St. Louis 4-1. They're in the 7th. No, we didn't, says Angel Hernandez. Dodgers and Brewers are just underway in LA. No score. They're in the 1st. There's a look at the defensive alignment against Rougned Odor. Another ground ball. Goldie calls off Godley. 1-0 Diamondbacks at Chase Field. In St. Louis, and there goes Charlie Blackmon again. Colorado right now leads 4-1. They're in the 7th inning at Busch Stadium. Rockies in 3rd in the NL West, but only 1 game behind the division leading Dodgers. D-backs in 2nd, a half game back of LA. Alex Avila leads off the 3rd against Bartolo Colon. Avila 159 and 5 homers. He had an RBI double as a pinch hitter Saturday in San Diego. Homered last Thursday against the Cubs. He's been a very effective bat lately. In fact, Alex Avila last 10 games hitting .360 with 3 doubles, 3 homers, and 10 runs batted in.
And he's also drawn 7 walks over those 10 ball games, and contact has been crisp.
Everybody that wanted Alex Avila benched or off the team earlier this year, they were told, look, you got to be patient. He's got a great track record, and eventually he will come around, and we've certainly seen that over the last month.
And he had to be in the lineup tonight against Big Bart. 6 for 11 lifetime with a couple of home runs. Apparently I included the postseason numbers.
Well, that matters more. It's postseason. This is the way the 3-man catching rotation is going. You've got Mathis matched up with Greinke and Corbin. And then John Ryan Murphy starts behind the plate against the lefties, and Avila against the right-hand pitchers like tonight. Even Bart's not getting that call. It's full 3-2.
You know, we were just in Chicago on the last road trip, and I described Kyle Hendricks as a dart thrower. Well, Bartolo has a little bit of that too. He does extend the arm out behind his back, but then he puts it right up behind his right ear before delivering the ball to home plate.
Well, Bartolo Colon 245 career wins. And he begins tonight tied with El Presidente, Dennis Martinez, for the most wins in Major League history by a native of Latin America. And that's a record that means a great deal to Bartolo Colon. He's from the Dominican Republic. Denny Martinez from Nicaragua.
Now, Jeff Bannister was talking about that before the ball game too. He really extended Bartolo last time out against the Oakland Athletics. 7 innings through 106 pitches, a high for the season, because he was trying to get him that one more win.
Avila hits it hard, but Odor is well back on the outfield grass at second. Yeah, Colon in chasing the record has gone 0-4 in 4 attempts now, so it's kind of become a thing. He's already the all-time leader in wins by a Dominican pitcher ahead of Juan Marichal. Here's the pitcher, Zach Godley. Yeah, so they'd really like to see him get that record just to get it on the books and move on. But it certainly is an enormous accomplishment for Bartolo Colon. Means a great deal. It's one of those things that happens sometimes, especially with veteran guys, and they're chasing a particular mark or a number, and it just kind of lingers for a while. 0-4 in 4 starts since he tied Denny Martinez.
Yeah, that pitcher that gets to 19 wins but just can't seem to get that 20th, or a hitter that's stuck on 19 homers or 29 homers, just looking for that one more to push him up to the next level.
Swing and a miss.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
When I was a kid growing up in Boston, Yaz was going for 400 homers, and it took like a month and a half. And they would cut in every time he got up to bat. And they one day against Oakland, finally, they brought in a kid pitcher, Mike Morgan. The Mo Man was just a baby.
Yeah.
And he served up Yaz's 400th, and they were able to finally check that box. Here's John Jay, the leadoff man. By the way, David Peralta, Torey Lovello told us today, is available to pinch hit tonight. Still got a little nagging stiffness, soreness in the back of his right shoulder, but they think he'll be fine. They'd probably like to stay away from him if they could, but he can bat if they need the bat, and you've got the off day tomorrow, so they expect David will be back in there Thursday against the Giants. So that's good news. He hates not playing. Oh, he hates it. Every day, hey, I can play. Goes up to Torrey. I don't need a day rest. I'm good. I'm good. No, you have a seat. You got a schedule.
Well, and it's especially effective with the off day tomorrow. As you said, you can really parlay it into quite a bit of a break to rest that shoulder, get the treatments that he needs, and hopefully come back at full strength on Thursday.
Yeah, we open up a 4-game set against the Giants here Thursday. And how about this pitching matchup? Thursday here at Chase Field, Zach Greinke and Madison Bumgarner. That'll be a lot of fun. After that, it's Corbin Buchholz and Robbie Ray for the D-backs against San Francisco. Giants have already won today. They played this afternoon at San Diego, beat the Padres 3-2. So the Giants still in the discussion. They are 5 games off the lead in the NL West. Greinke gets the ball here Thursday, and he has been, Bob, as good in his last 8-9 starts as he's been as a Diamondback.
Maybe as good as anybody in the game over that stretch. I mean, he just doesn't give up any loud contact. Never walks anybody.
It's been a lot of fun to watch him work. 2-2 on John Jay. Slices one just over the head of Beltre at third. Well, John Jay has turned that into an art form, just kind of inside outing something down the left field line for bloops or line drives.
Ball is down on the inner third of the plate. Slicing swing that time produces that line drive into left field. 2-out knock, extends the inning here, forces Colon to throw some more pitches.
And now he's got to throw some more pitches to Goldie. Jay at first with the second D-back hit. 2 outs. Goldie grounded out his first time up. Rockies now with a 6-1 lead in St. Louis. It's still the 7th at Busch Stadium. Look out, Tony Perez-Chica. There is Mark Hicks, the Hick Dog. Our Golden Glover down the left field line tonight. Tom Morales working right field. I don't believe any relation to former Cub great Jerry Morales.
Bartolo really mixing it up in this inning. He threw his first non-fastball to John Jay, threw him a changeup on pitch number 2 of that at bat, and also threw a changeup to Goldie in this at bat. So really mixing it up. 2 non-fastballs.
Goldie, fly ball, left center, way back, and it's off the base of the wall. Here comes John Jay. The relay is bobbled, and it's 2-0 D-backs. Well, the Rangers had a chance at Jay, but they couldn't corral the relay throw. And the D-backs take a 2-0 lead.
That's another changeup from Bartolo Colon. 3 of them in this inning. Goldie hits a top spin liner off the base of the wall out there in left center field. Yeah, that was going to be extremely close at home plate if the Rangers don't mishandle that relay throw back to the infield. Yeah, right there, a short hop to Andrus. He can't handle it. That allows John Jay to get on the plate easily.
Goldie to double. A run is in. Here's AJ, who homered to deep right center field. His first time up, his 15th of the year, onto the home run porch.
Nice job by a D-backs fan out there in left field. Looked like he had thoughts about reaching over and trying to make a play and said, wait a minute, that's Goldie. Oh, it's a Rangers fan. Oh,
Nicely
my.
done.
I thought it was a D-backs fan.
That's a smart fan either way. You're here to watch the game, not participate, but nicely done. 0-1 on AJ.
Well, that relay back to the infield on the Goldie double. The Rangers had set up a double cut. Elvis Andrus, the first man out into the outfield, followed by the second baseman Rougned Odor. That might have been an easier play for Andrus to let that one go. A bigger, higher hop to Odor.
Now, why set up a double cut? What advantage does that provide?
Well, on a play just like that, if it's going to be a tough play to reach down and short hop a throw from the outfielder and then turn and try to make an accurate throw to home plate, just let it go through, and the second cutoff man will get a better hop because ideally he's positioned 15 or 20 feet behind the first cut man.
1-1 is lifted in the air to center field for Tochi. Well, AJ is solo homer in the first, and here's Goldie. A 2-out double in the third. We head to the fourth. It's 2-0 D-backs. Presented by Geico as we celebrate the D-backs 20th anniversary team. Brad Ziegler is on that team, and he's on this team now as well, acquired from Miami today.
I love it when a plan comes together, celebrating the 20th anniversary team this weekend. So Brad Ziegler back in the fold once again. We all know about Brad Ziegler and that sinking submarine fastball, ground ball after ground ball.
He is on his way. He's not here tonight, Brad Ziegler, but should be here Thursday. D-backs also without Andrew Chafin, who's on paternity leave. So Silvino Braccio is here. Elvis Andrus leads off the 4th. He's got the only fly ball out against Zach Godley so far. Everything else for Zach has been either a strikeout or a ground ball.
Could we send the bullpen cart to Miami to pick up Brad?
We could. It might not get here until 2 weeks or so. That might, I don't know if that runs on gas or an electric charge. We have another one here. We have 2 of them. So we've got a backup. We could do that.
Well, I know you've been in the hallway outside the clubhouses downstairs, and there's a whole fleet of vehicles down there for D. Baxter. He's got a go-kart and a motorcycle and a scooter and a bike and a tricycle.
Yeah, I'm told by your staff they are electric. I thought that was kind of cool the way Jake Diekman used that. This was today when, you know, everybody said, well, he's been traded to the Diamondbacks. He can just walk over to the other clubhouse. Well, why walk when you can ride? Baxter gave him a ride in the bullpen car to the D-back home clubhouse. Mark was there waiting for him. Got to meet his new teammates. That's a strike. Hold on there, Elvis. You have not left the building just yet. It's 3-2.
Nice.
Well, Chris Siegel's got a pretty liberal strike zone. Everything around the edges or the corners he pretty much gives to the pitcher. Ouch.
Watch that bare hand. Boy, I hate to see that with nobody on base. I hate to see that anytime. Alex had a rough one in Chicago on that last road trip. I believe it was Chicago. He took a real bad shot to the groin.
There's the curveball. Godley gets his 5th strikeout.
Adrian Beltre making his way to the plate, struck out in his first at bat of this game. You pointed out last night how low he wears the bill of his helmet over his eyes. Might have slipped a little too low during this at bat. Took a hittable fastball, took a fastball off the inside corner, and then chased a cutter away. Our Nationwide Vision eye on the game.
Beltre with a 5-game hitting streak. Godley's now got 5 strikeouts. He's retired 5 in a row ever since the walk to Calhoun in the 2nd. Speaking of trades and trade deadlines, Beltre today was very happy to tell the Ranger beat writers he was relieved to know he's not going to be out of Texas and that he will be there for, well, who knows how long. He was not traded today. There had been a lot of reports that maybe he was on his way to Atlanta or Boston or a few other places. That's a foul ball. But Beltre said it never got close to where he had to make a decision whether to waive that no trade clause he's got in his contract. He's a 10-5 guy. But he loves it in Texas. He does not want to leave. Zach at 50 pitches, 34 strikes. Ouch.
You mentioned a 10-5 guy. That means 10 years in the major leagues, 5 with the same ball club. And once you've earned that status, you have the right to approve or disapprove of a trade.
Veto power. Well, now his decision is whether to play again next year. And he says if he does decide to come back, his first choice would be to play for the Texas Rangers. He's very comfortable there. He's 39 years old. Ahmed at short. Another ground ball out for Godley. He set down 6 straight.
I would imagine for Adrian Beltre, if possible, if physically possible, he'd probably like to stick around until they open the new ballpark in Arlington.
And of course, just because the trade deadline has come and gone does not mean teams still can't make trades. Some people get confused about that. But from this point on, if you do want to trade a guy, he has to clear waivers first. And then once he does, you're free to trade him wherever you want. And here's Guzman. This is the guy we were talking about who put on the batting practice display. That was very impressive. Ronald Guzman, the first baseman tonight. He grounded out his first time up. Center field, A.J. Zach Godley's retired 7 straight. He leads it 2-0. At a lower price, fans, $82.99 lets you watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand, and includes MLB at Bat Premium that lets you watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Visit MLB.tv. Take advantage of this special offer. Don't miss a game as we head down the home stretch in August and September. Steven Souza Jr. leads off the 4th against Bartolo Colon. Souza flied out his first time up. Another productive night for Souza. Once again, Chris Siegel gives Colon the call just off the corner. Last night, Steven had a big 3-run homer, made a terrific diving catch in right field. By the way, still unofficial. But we're close. We're getting closer. It looks like a Steven Souza Jr. cup of coffee's in the works.
Oh my!
Yeah, don't get all crazy on me now, but we're looking pretty good.
Should we line up somewhere? Camp outside?
At an undisclosed location.
Oh.
We've got Josh Kellman has worked his way through the bureaucratic maze to get this done, and I think we're going to have a couple of cup of coffee shows before the year's out. And we hope to sit down with Steven and another D-back player sometime in the next week or so. But still highly unofficial. I probably shouldn't even said anything.
We'll be standing by. Please keep us informed.
Eduardo Escobar will be the next hitter. 2-2 on Souza. Josh Kellman. Now, when you've got a big shot like Josh Kellman, I mean, he doesn't mess around. He, what you call a fast tracks it.
Mm-hmm.
He goes right to the decision makers, and he just gets stuff done. Now that was in the strike zone, but up and in for ball 4, and the first walk issued by Colon.
Well, it's gone final in the nation's capital. The Nationals defeated the Mets tonight 25-4. That's the most runs scored in the major league since '07, when these Texas Rangers beat up on the Baltimore Orioles 30-3.
Yeah, we didn't have enough room on our scoreboard for all those runs as Escobar steps in. Yeah, according to our board, that was a nail biter. Nationals won it 5-4. I don't know what you're talking about. That was a close 1-run ball game. Yeah, see, 5-4. Oh, they don't have room for the 2.
Well, it's probably a good thing that the Mets stood pat at the trade deadline.
Well, if it ain't broke.
I got news for you. It's broke.
Yeah, the Mets are becoming like the Knicks of New York. Wait, what? Escobar had a big night last night again. Singled twice, drove in 2 runs. I know Steven Souza's a big guy, but he's a base runner and a base stealer. He stole 16 bases with Tampa Bay last year, so he'll take off on you.
You don't last 21 years in the big leagues without the ability to slow down a running game. Bart unloads that ball extremely quickly to home plate. That's a pretty good move to first base for a big man. He's got quick feet out there on the mound, but the real key is getting that ball to his catcher as quickly as possible. And we mentioned Chirinos last night. He's only thrown out 3 of 34 attempted base stealers this year.
Guzman holding Souza on the bag. That fastball's in there at 86. D-backs saw Bartolo Colon last year in Minnesota after he was picked up by the Twins following his release from the Atlanta Braves, and Colon beat the Diamondbacks at Target Field. That was a rough weekend. Remember that one? Ooh. But he was not exactly sharp in that game. Gave up 3 home runs in 6 innings, but still got the win. Chirinos throws down there. Souza's back in time. Minnesota won that game 12-5. You might recall it was started by T.J. McFarland, and T.J. Did not survive the first inning in a spot start. So Bartolo not completely unfamiliar to some of these D-backs hitters.
Yeah, that series in Minnesota last year, I refer to that as the Byron Buxton show. Boy, did he do everything you needed to do on a baseball field to help your team win.
Guy to short center. Here comes Tochi. I think he had a couple of triples in that series. Byron Buxton, an inside the park home run, made about 5 diving catches in the outfield. He looked like Willie Mays in 3 games. Here's Descalso, struck out looking his first time. Yeah, so Bart last year was with Atlanta. They let him go. Minnesota picked him up. And then this February he signed with Texas. And you're thinking, okay, he's obviously near the end. He's just kind of a scrap heap guy. He's only 2 years removed from an all-star season with the Mets. That was 2016. He won 15 games in New York just 2 years ago. Worked almost 200 innings for the Mets. So he has been in order now. Indians, Expos, White Sox, Angels, Red Sox, White Sox again, Yankees, A's, Mets, Braves, Twins, and now the Rangers. He knows his way around a big league ballpark. That's another Chris Siegel, strike 1. Whew. Yeah.
Every night.
Yeah, Bart's getting the Greg Maddux treatment so far. That's into center and down for a base hit. Souza stops at second. And a walk and a single, 2 on, 1 out for Nick Ahmed. Nick flied out his first time up tonight.
Well, don't stop now. As we saw in that ball game last night, this Rangers offense is capable of rearing its head very quickly. They scored 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, and 1 in the 9th last night. So keep tacking on.
Yeah, the Rangers were trailing that ball game. Wound up winning 9-5. Boy, just keeps dotting that fastball. Sometimes it's the four-seamer at 90. Sometimes it's the two-seam sinker, mid-80s. But he's always right around the strike zone. Mix in the occasional breaking ball, the occasional changeup. Floats that up there for another strike, and you look up and you're down 0-2.
Jeff Bannister told us before the ball game, if his velocity is 88, 89, he'll be okay with some movement, as we've seen in the ball game tonight. But if that velocity starts to creep down 84, 85, that's when Bartolo can run into some problems out there.
Well, as we've mentioned, it's not gone all that well for Cologne lately. He's lost 4 straight starts in 5 of his last 6. Now, some of that has been poor run support. Texas has scored a total of just 12 runs in his last 5 losses. So he's had those games where they only score 1 or 2 for him. But he has been hit pretty hard his last 2 starts. That's just off the plate. 5 runs in less than 5 innings against Cleveland. Then last Thursday against Oakland, the A's got him 6 runs on 9 hits in 7. Steven Souza Jr. at second. Daniel Descalso at first. 1 out. 1-2 on the D-back shortstop, Nick Ahmed. Tried to go to the slider. 2-2. Alex Avila on deck. Boy, Nick, since June 28th with runners in scoring position, is hitting almost 370. 7 for 19 with 15 runs batted in. Well, you know, if Nick keeps this up, Bob, and you mentioned this the other day, you've always said, boy, you know, Nick with that glove, if he could just be a representative major league hitter. Well, he's on his way to a 20 homer, 30 double season. And he's hitting 240 right now. He keeps nibbling out there, and Chris Siegel's not going to give him that one, and now it's full 3-2.
Well, given his preference, Nick would like to pull the ball. That's when he's really hit it with authority this year, when he's gotten that bat head out front and pulled the ball to left field. But we saw him at Wrigley. Fastballs up and out over the plate, driving him to the gap in right center field. He's just hitting the ball harder on the barrel, making some things happen offensively this year.
Well, he's pulled a Goldie. He's gone from 0-2 in the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Rangers with 2 strikes still anticipate he'll try and punch it to right center. Tochi is shaded over toward the pool in center field. And you can see Chu is off the line in right.
And Bart figures to be the kind of pitcher you could play an exaggerated shift in the infield or the outfield, because he either hits his spot or misses in his favor almost every time.
It's amazing to watch.
He's not a guy that's going to try to hit the outside corner at the knees and run it up and in. He's going to be right around his target all night long.
Ahmed sends it to left. And here we go. Souza will score. Descalso right behind. A 2-run double for Nick Ahmed. And it's 4-0 Diamondbacks. He was down in the count 0-2.
And that sinker comes right back to the middle of the plate below the knees, but Nick goes down and gets it, uses his own knees to get down underneath that ball and drive it into the left field corner for a couple of RBIs.
23rd double for Ahmed. 4 runs on 5 hits, and here comes the hot hitting Alex Avila. Still just 1 out. Avila grounded out on a 3-2 pitch. His first time up tonight against Bartolo Colon. Alex, with runners in scoring position, 5 for his last 7. 7 runs batted in. Brewers have taken a 1-0 lead in Los Angeles. They're in the 3rd at Dodger Stadium. Rockies leading 6-1. They're in the 8th inning at St. Louis. Giants won in San Diego earlier today. There's a look at the hit chart for Alex Avila. It's interesting. You see that 2%, 3%. If I recall, his home run at Wrigley Field was out to left center field, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
That was Thursday against the Cubs. Yes, he went, says Angel Hernandez. 1-2. Here's a look from Mosscam. Our director Brian Moss likes to take you right into the action, right behind home plate. Missed with a cut fastball. When do you go from control artist, dart thrower to nibbler? Because it seems like he's sort of gone to nibbler the last inning or so.
I think it depends on the quality of at bats by the opposing hitters. If they start to whack the ball, then you become a little bit more of a nibbler. You try to scoot it out there just a little bit farther.
Seems like that's where he's gone in the 3rd and 4th.
Boy, it worked out in the Diamondbacks' favor in this particular inning, but think back to Steven Souza Jr. leading it off with that base on balls that showed up in our strike zone as a strike.
Yeah.
Would have changed the entire complexion of this inning, but the Diamondbacks able to take advantage of a missed call.
Well, Colon has now gone 3-2 3 times in this inning. So the nibbling is starting to pile up the pitch count. Here it is on 3-2 to Avila. And there's ball 4, his 2nd walk in the inning. Now it's mound conference time. Zach Godley, the pitcher, comes up. 2 on, 1 out, 2 runs in. There's Doug Brocail, the pitching coach, on the bullpen phone. Of course, they are running through relievers lately. They've traded a whole bunch in the last couple of days, including Diekman last night, who's now in the opposite bullpen. And things will start to get busy down there. Jeffrey Springs, the left-hander. There's Eddie Butler, the former Cub. We saw him in Wrigley Field last week. He was the winning pitcher in last night's ball game, even though he only threw 1 pitch all night.
How about that?
That's what the stat, the win means. Butler came on, got Goldie to fly out to win the 6th inning on 1 pitch, and wound up as the winning pitcher. There's Diekman, one of the newest Diamondback acquisitions. He was a Ranger last night. In fact, he worked in last night's ball game. Came on in the 9th inning. He struck out Escobar and Goldie.
Throwing 96, 97 from the left side.
Godley punches it to 3rd. Andrews, yes, he did get a foot down. Well, but he's not able to turn to. That was a tailor-made double play ball. Beltre looking at him like, oh man, that was easy.
Well, that's one of those goofy plays you'd get with the shift. You could see Andrus was running back and forth. Some confusion there. Odor went to cover the bag as well.
He just couldn't find the bag coming from that angle, Elvis Andrus. And now Beltre is giving him a hard time as John Jay steps up. That should have ended the inning. Jay singled and scored in the third. Came home on Goldie's RBI double. 2 on and 2 out.
After the first pitch to John Jay, now Guzman down there at first base will slide around behind Zach Godley. He was holding him on the bag on that first pitch. Those are the kind of things that kind of get under my skin a little bit.
Why is that?
You're holding on a pitcher at first base with 2 outs in the inning. What happens if John Jay pulls the first pitch through that hole in the right side because you're holding on the pitcher?
Well, he might try to steal.
Well, if I'm the Rangers, I'd say go ahead.
That's all right. Just trying to give you something there.
And you know, they realized it after the first pitch. Hey, wait a minute, we don't need to hold him on, play behind him, but could have been 1 pitch too late.
Fastball misses in. Chirinos looked like he wanted that one. It's 1-2. And Jeff Bannister shouting at Chris Siegel. Siegel turning around now, staring into the Ranger dugout. That pitch was inside.
Well, we know how this works.
Makeup call coming in 3-2-1.
He shook off to get to the changeup that time.
Jay out in front. John Jay's been a streaky hitter since he arrived in Arizona, but he's on a hot streak right now. Last night he walked, singled, tripled, scored twice. He's singled and scored tonight. Up there now with 2 on and 2 out. There it is, and it gets by Odor. Ahmed is home. Godley chugging for third. Well, he hit it to the exact spot to which you were referring a moment ago.
Guzman was not holding on the runner that time. John Jay just hit it hard enough to sneak it through that right side. Well, and you know what that means.
I believe that means tacos.
Oh, yes, it does.
Got my ASU D-back cap here. Todd Walsh is not here, so I won't show the U of A cap. 5-0 Diamondbacks. And now Doug Brocail is out there.
Take a look at Paul Goldschmidt's last at bat in this ball game back in that third inning. An RBI double. 1 to measure, 81 miles an hour down and in. 1 to rake, another one 81 farther off the plate inside. Our nationwide vision eye on the game. A top spin blast off the base of the wall out there in left field to drive home John Jay in the third.
Chris Siegel, the plate umpire, has been out there for a while on the pitcher's mound. Time has been up long ago, and now finally Brocail is done. But that lasted longer than it should have.
Well, it used to be how you could force an umpire to come out to the mound and get in his ear a little bit. That could have possibly been why Doug Brocail stayed out there a little extra long, forcing Chris Siegel to come out, and that way Brocail could say whatever it is he wanted to say.
Here's Goldie, the 8th man to bat, and the D-back 4th. He has grounded out. He's got an RBI double, 1 for 2. Godley's at third. Jay is at first. 3 runs in. Towards center, Tochi coming in, and he runs it down. Nick Ahmed, a big hit and a 3-run fourth. A 3-2 pitch into left for a 2-run double. And as we head to the fifth, it's 5-0 Diamondbacks. Field Saturday, our annual alumni game presented by Sanderson Ford. Arrive early for the alumni game festivities, which start at 2 o'clock before the 20th anniversary pregame celebration. And this t-shirt, modeled by the lovely Bob Brindley, is our big giveaway that day, honoring the 16 members of the 20th anniversary team. Game against the Giants later that afternoon. dbacks.com/alumni. I was wondering where on that shirt you are. And there,
wedged between Miggy and Gonzo. I feel very safe in that cradle right there.
Now that's one of those really nice soft t-shirts.
Yes,
too.
it is. Yes, it is.
Very pleasant for those of the. If you're tactilely focused, something I don't know. Yeah, that blew up.
Nice try.
Yeah, well, no. Sometimes you go down into the canyon like Evel Knievel. Chirinos leads off the fifth. Again, Zach Godley, who's now got a 5-0 lead. Zach has retired 7 straight Rangers. Cardinals are trying to come back in St. Louis. The Rockies now lead 6-3. They're in the 9th inning at Busch Stadium. Brewers still lead the Dodgers 1-0 in LA. They're in the 4th. There's that sinker for a strike. In fact, this is how Milwaukee took the lead. Lorenzo Cain off Walker Buehler. And that rolls to the wall in right center. It's 1-0 Brew Crew as Yelich scores. The only run of the game so far.
Should save that videotape right there. It appeared that Yasiel Puig hit the cutoff man.
Well, let's not get crazy. Dodgers very busy. They picked up a Brian Dozier today, the second baseman for the Minnesota Twins. So they've got Machado and Dozier in their infield now.
Also John Axford, right-hander in the bullpen.
Yeah, so they have a whole. I'm not sure if they know what they're going to get from Justin Turner for the rest of the year. Obviously, Muncy's been a nice surprise, but Dozier was the guy they tried to get 2 years ago. They just couldn't work out a deal with Minnesota. They settled on Logan Forsythe instead, and that hasn't worked out. Good curveball. Got the corner down and away. 2-2 on the Rangers catcher. Swing and a miss at the curveball, and that's 6 strikeouts for Godley.
Goes without saying, much better command today for Zach Godley than we've seen in his last couple of starts. Especially with that cut fastball, he's able to command that on the outside corner for the most part. He's been able to bounce that curveball when he's gotten to those 2 strike counts. Only 1 walk in the game.
And that was to Willie Calhoun, who steps in now. Godley has retired 8 straight since the walk to Calhoun in the second. D-backs put the shift on against the youngster. We're talking about some of the other teams' trade deadline moves. The blockbuster came from Pittsburgh. The Pirates, who are just a handful of games out of the wild card race. They gave up some very talented young players to get Chris Archer, the starting pitcher from the Tampa Bay Rays. Neil Huntington said he was their target the whole time, but they traded Tyler Glasnow and Austin Meadows, a very good young looking outfielder, to get Archer to Pittsburgh. And you can see the Pirates 3 back in the wild card race, so they're in it to win it this year. Boy, I'd like to have Austin Meadows on the D-backs. He can play. Calhoun squirts that one into left field. Just the second hit for the Rangers.
That was a little different circumstance than some of the deals. I believe Archer is under control for a few more years, isn't it?
Yeah, they have him for a while yet.
Yeah, so not your typical rental where you can possibly get him with some mid-level prospects or lower-level prospects. You're going to have to give up something to get a guy like that under control.
Yeah, they have after this year, the Pirates will control Archer for 3 more seasons. And so they're going to build around him to lead their pitching staff. Here's Carlos Tocci, the center fielder. Brewers were busy again. They picked up Jonathan Scope from the Orioles. That was weird because they just got Moustakas to play third. They moved Shaw to second, and then they go get Scope. That was a little unusual.
Speculation that he might play some shortstop, which he's done in the past. Not his best position.
Yeah, they sent Jonathan VR to Baltimore, among the players traded in return for Scope. A little tapper to third. Escobar is on it. Well, he just makes it look so easy down there. A very smooth defender at third. Calhoun into second, 2 outs.
Straight over the top on that throw to Paul Goldschmidt there. Pulled him into foul territory, but much easier to make an accurate throw the higher your arm angle is. That's what makes Adrian Beltre so amazing. He throws from between his legs, behind his back. It doesn't matter. Everything's right on the money.
Well, Jeff Bannister going to keep going with Bartolo here. Colon will hit with 2 outs in the 5th. After giving up 3 runs in the bottom of the 4th. There's Dave McKay positioning his outfielders. I'll say this for Chris Siegel. He's given both pitchers that corner down and away to right-hand batters. He's been very consistent there, even if it's just off the plate. And now he's heard enough from the Ranger dugout. No more. And Jeff Bannister and Siegel, they're right on the edge.
Can't even look.
I'm not sure I can look at that. 0-2.
Selling out for the fastball, and Zach Godley drops a curve on him. That's not fair.
You know, the beauty of this is how many times have we seen a pitcher who just flat out can't hit, go up there and just kind of look. Bart takes his cuts, man. How many subscribes to that swing hard in case you hit it rule? Godley's got 7 strikeouts and a 5-0 lead. Getting a little testy here at Chase.
5th, and the trade deadline has come and gone. But when I walked into the Diamondbacks clubhouse today, Archie Bradley said how excited he was to know this team is all in. The Diamondbacks, of course, on the receiving end of this trade deal as they went out and got some big names to join them in the D-backs uniform. And Archie said it's exciting to put on the uniform every day for the Diamondbacks because they have a great group of guys here. But he said today especially because you know what this team has done over the past 6 weeks, that the front office believes in these guys here. This coaching staff believes, and he said, best of all, these players believe in each other, and he said they've been welcoming these new guys with opening arms. Of course, Jake joining the team from the other clubhouse this afternoon. Brad Ziegler, meanwhile, making his way over here to be ready to go for the Diamondbacks on Thursday. And both Ziegler, obviously, he knows the groundwork over here at Arizona. He knows the lay of the land. He said it'll be an easy transition because he knows the area. He'll be able to dive right into baseball. And meanwhile, for Jake, he said after everything that's been going on with his name and rumors, he's just happy to have found a new home, ready to get back to baseball. And so I think, guys, this is the reception you want from the new guys suiting up in the Diamondbacks uniform.
Absolutely, Kate. It's great to have both guys with the D-backs now as A.J. Pollock leads off the 5th. They've got a pretty big league bullpen back there now with Diekman from the left side, Ziegler from the funky arm angle from the right side to add to the guys they already have.
And that's a good point about Brad Ziegler returning to a place where he's been before. There's a certain comfort level there. You don't have to wonder, where am I going to live? Where should I go eat? How far is it to the ballpark? He knows all that stuff.
Well, look, this is a team that won 93 games last year and made some very good offseason moves to strengthen the ball club. Steven Souza Jr. They've got a whole group together now, and they expect to win. And I think to Mike Hazen and Jared Porter and Amiel Saude's credit, they've done this. They brought these guys in, Bob, without giving away any of their top prospects. They've traded some pretty good players at the lower levels of the minor league system, and you got to give up something, but they haven't by any stretch gutted the farm system to bring these guys here. 1-2 on AJ. This is a fly ball headed for the right field corner. Chu is there on the warning track, and he's got it.
I went on nationalpastime.com today to look at this day in baseball history, some of the things that have happened, and obviously a lot of trade deadline deals on this day, various years throughout history. But you go back through and look at some of those deals, the prospects that were given up. Very few of them became contributing major leaguers, at least in a majority of the trades. A lot of names that you've never heard of, guys that never made it to the big leagues, but at the time were considered to be prospects and valued by an organization enough that they gave up somebody that a pennant contending team was looking for. Prospects, they're prospects for a reason. They haven't proven anything yet.
Well, that's a bullet back up the middle and into center. Souza on board again. He's got a walk and a single. So Steven has now hit safely in 5 straight games. Bullpen busy again for the Rangers as the lefty Springs, Jeffrey Springs, up for the 2nd time tonight. Well, that's the thing about Diekman and Brad Ziegler. Those guys can be free agents at the end of the year, so it is a rental, so you're not going to give up a top-tier prospect for a guy who's a rental. But like we mentioned a moment ago, the Pirates got Chris Archer, a guy who's a very good pitcher who they will control for 3 more seasons after this year, so they had to give up some very good players to get him into Pittsburgh. So the teams that are trading these guys away figure, well, we're not going to be able to re-sign this guy anyway. Let's at least get a couple of minor league guys for him and hope they turned into something. It's better than nothing. Escobar has flied out twice tonight, 0 for 2. Now a final in St. Louis. The Rockies beat the Cardinals 6-3. Milwaukee still leads at Dodger Stadium 1-0 in the 5th. Escobar punches that one foul. By the way, we've got a lovely letter here today. Looking at Chris Siegel and Jeff Bannister, the plate umpire and the Rangers manager, going back and forth. And we always encourage our viewers to write letters to Bob and I here at the ballpark, Chase Field, Phoenix, Arizona. Got a really nice letter from Julie Wilson, who wrote us from Tempe. And Julie had a letter. I thought you would like this, so I was curious to get your take on it. There's the 0-2 to Eduardo Escobar, talking about some of the missed calls by the plate umpires. And what do? Souza got a tremendous jump, and Guzman steps on the bag at first. So Julie writes, dear Bob and Steve, she watches all the games and she loves the broadcast, but her solution to the problem of calling balls and strikes accurately would be to have umpires who specialize as home plate umpires. Now, she says MLB could easily evaluate all the umpires, identify the ones who get the most calls right, and then only those guys can be home plate umpires. She does not want robot umps, but she thinks that might be a sort of a middle ground. What do you think about that idea?
Well, I think it would upset the pay framework for umpires.
Scalzo fouls that one away.
If I'm umpiring home plate every day, you're going to have to pay me.
Okay, well, they're making money. That's not a problem. But I thought that was a very good idea. So thank you, Julie Wilson from Tempe, for your lovely letter. Now we encourage all our viewers to write to Bob and I here at the ballpark, and we'll try and read your letter on the air.
Can't convince Julie to go for those robot umps, huh?
No, she does not want the automation factor. She wrote, I am not in favor of any kind of mechanical, electronic, robotic device calling the pitches. The more automation is added to the game, I think eventually it will resemble a video game, and the humans will be unnecessary. See, I agree with her there. As brutal as it gets, it still kind of gives me the willies. Robot umps. But have a ball and strike specialists. Assuming that you could come up with the money.
And assuming there's a ball strike specialist out there.
Okay, so. Well, we might run into a roadblock or two.
I think Chris Siegel make a real good third base umpire.
He has been consistent. I know that is something that drives you crazy. That's a called strike. It was right in there. We head to the 6th inning. D-backs lead the Rangers 5-0.
The leadoff batter in every inning of this game. A curveball there, a cut fastball away. Big Bart looks at a curveball. Elvis Andrews chasing a curve, and Robinson Chirinos chasing a curveball in the dirt. 5 strikeouts to start the first 5 innings of this ball game. Our nationwide vision, eye on the game.
He's also twice struck out the last batter of an inning, so he's got 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 5 scoreless. He's only given up 2 hits. And Shin-Soo Choo, the right fielder, 0 for 2, leads off the Texas 6th. D-backs have the shift on.
Zach Godley been totally in command tonight. 68 pitches, 49 of them for strikes, and everything's been in the strike zone tonight. 21 out of 28 sinkers in the strike zone, 10 out of 15 cutters, and 17 out of 23 curveballs.
And he continues, Bob, as Torrey likes to say, it looks like from up here anyway, to stay in control of his delivery. A couple times he's gone off the side of the mound. That's no big deal, but he's a little more poised, a little more polished. Less of a bull in a china shop tonight than he has been in the past.
And on those rare occasions when he has spun off to the first base side, it's almost like he reminds himself, I don't want to do that anymore. Takes a deep breath, gets back up on the mound, and then does execute the pitch he's looking to finish.
Escobar and Ahmed swap spots now with 2 strikes. Nick slides over to his shortstop spot. Left side of the infield wide open for Choo. Swing and a miss. Guess what? He started off the inning with a strikeout. That's 8 in the ball game for Godley.
Well, when Choo swung at that curveball that bounced about 2 feet in front of home plate, you knew he was going to see nothing but curveballs the rest of the at bat. Zach Godley finishes him off here to start the 6th.
That was the 9th time in the game Godley went to an 0-2 count on a Rangers hitter. Here's Odor, who's grounded out twice, 0 for 2. They'll leave the shift on. He tries to bunt it the other way. Everything about Rougned Odor just screams gamer. I mean, look at him. He's a mess. But, boy, you'd like to have him on your ball club. He's just gamer.
Yeah, he's a guy. I haven't seen that much of Rougned Odor, occasionally on television here and there, and the few times we played against the Rangers. And I asked Jeff Bannister about him, and he said immediately, without a hesitation, I'll take 25 of him on any team I manage.
I believe it. Zach ahead now 0-2. That's 10 0-2 counts for Godley so far.
And Odor, a guy that was probably rushed to the big leagues a little too quickly. Came straight out of Double-A to the major leagues and struggled, was getting booed at home. And Jeff Bannister just told him, just hang in there. You're our guy. You're going to figure this out. You're going to be a better player for what you've gone through. And sure enough, here he is.
He's got a lot of pop for a little dude. And he is red hot right now. He's hit safely in 3 straight, 10 of his last 11. He's got 4 homers in his last 8 games, including his home run here last night. Only 24 years old. Boy, how about that block by Avila?
Zach Godley is not an easy pitcher to catch. Now he's on top of his game tonight, and he's still tough to catch. But when he's spraying it around, you feel like a goalie back there behind the plate. And Alex Avila has done a fantastic job behind the plate for Zach Godley. Take it easy.
Settle down. I'm getting tired. Here's the 2-2. Another curveball on 2 strikes. Zach tonight going for win number 12 on the year. Andrews will be next. He's 0 for 2. He's doing that Robbie Ray lips thing now. Notice that? Robbie started doing that as a kind of a relaxation technique. Just kind of
takes a deep breath and
yeah, that thing with the lips. That's a Robbie Ray maneuver. Zach might have picked that up. Just as he's getting the sign about to deliver the pitch. There it is. Hard to second. Easy play for Descalso. Boy, he's had the ground ball working tonight. A curveball for strikeouts. He's locked in.
Hey, fans, receive 15% off at the Chase Field Team Shop when you use the card by Gila River Casinos.
Godley has retired 12 of the last 13 batters he's faced. Elvis Andrus 0 for 2. Here's the cutter. Done a good job not yanking that pitch here tonight. Sometimes he'll miss way outside with that when he tries to hit that corner down and away to righties with a cut fastball. That time he yanked it a little more and it's well off the plate. No, he didn't go, says Tim Timmons. Well, we've seen him land that pitch down there for strikes several times tonight. 80 pitches, 58 strikes. He has walked 1. He's got 8 strikeouts. And comes in with that hard sinker. Cutter away, sinker in. Fastballs to both sides of the plate.
And we talked about the strikeouts to start each of the 6 innings. He's also got the second out in the inning in 5 of the 6.
Well, that's how you look up and you're throwing a 2-hit shutout.
Tough to get a rally started with 2 outs and nobody on base.
There's the cut fastball. 9 strikeouts for Godley. 6 scoreless. He leads at 5-0.
Inning for the Diamondbacks. This was his last at bat. He fell behind 0-2 right away to Bartolo Colon, then laid off a couple of pitches off the outside corner. Runs the count back to full. He fouls off a pitch down in the zone and then gets one even farther down and golfs it into the corner for a couple of RBIs, giving the Diamondbacks their current 5-0 lead.
And now we start the home half of the 6th inning. Bartolo Colon's night is over. And this is what happens when you sell off most of your big league relievers at the trade deadline. Rangers last in the American League West. You have to bring up some of the youngsters. And here making his major league debut is left-hander Jeffrey Springs, who was an A-ball last year. He's 25 years old. He has split this year between AA Frisco and AAA Round Rock. His numbers there at AAA, 1-2 with a 2.79 ERA. Ahmed leads off the 6th. Jeffrey Springs brought up from Round Rock today after they moved Kayla, Diekman, some other guys. He was a 30th round draft choice by Texas out of Appalachian State in Boone, North Carolina. He's from Belmont, North Carolina. 6'3", 180. And pitching in the big leagues for the first time right now, behind on Ahmed 3-0. And he walked the first batter he faced on 4 pitches. That'll bring up Alex Avila.
Catcher, Alex Avila.
Avila has grounded out and walked 0 for 1. Pitcher spot behind him. Godley comes out into the on-deck circle. Bullpen quiet for the D-backs. Here's a breaking ball for a strike. 1-1. Alex last 10 games, 3 doubles, 3 homers, and 10 RBIs. He's also walked 7 times over that stretch. And that's a base hit into right field. Ahmed digging for third. Here's the throw. It's cut off. They're on the corners with no outs to start the 6th.
Alex Avila hanging in tough against the left-hander. Gets a fastball inside corner, rolls over and hits that top spin grounder through the right side, chasing Nick Ahmed all the way to third. And now you would expect a bunt from Zach Godley. We'll see how Torrey wants to play it right here with a 5-run lead.
Good hard single against the left-hand pitcher for Avila. Godley up there now. Beltre creeping in a bit from third. Guzman holding Avila on the bag at first. Zach squares to bunt. That one spun him around. A hard slider in from the left-hander. 1-0. There's Tony Parachica coaching at third. Godley gets it down. Nobody at second. And so Springs has only one play. Avila moves up. Here's the leadoff man, John Jay. Jay has singled twice tonight. He's got an RBI. He's scored a run.
Not quite sure what happened defensively there for the Rangers. Odor was breaking to cover first base as Guzman charged from first. Carlos Andrews was just kind of standing out at his position at shortstop. Never broke to cover the bag at second. He's kind of in between. Didn't know whether to go to third, second. There was some confusion there defensively by the Rangers and cost them 90 feet.
Yeah, boy, they would have had Godley by about 5 steps easily had there been anybody at second base covering the bag. So a chance for Jay now. Infield in for Texas. Nice block on that curveball by Chirinos. It's a ball and a strike. Ahmed's at third. Avila's at second. 1 out. John Jay this year about a .240 hitter versus left-hand pitchers. That one sails over the head of Chirinos. Here comes Ahmed, and he's in there. 6-0 Diamondbacks. Avila in at third. Well, he walked the first batter he faced in the majors, Ahmed, and just wild pitched him home.
Up and into John Jay, over Chirinos, over the umpire, all the way to the backstop. They got a pretty nice bounce. The Rangers did. That ball came back considerably right there, but the throw back to home plate was high and offline. Nick able to get in under the tag.
Make it 6-0 now. Avila at third. 2 balls and a strike. He throws a hard slider, low 90 slider, Springs. But now behind 3-1 with Goldie on deck.
You mentioned Jeffrey Springs from Appalachian State. Haven't been a lot of sports highlights for Appalachian State other than back in 07
you're not
when they
doing it.
beat Michigan 34-32.
That's cold-blooded right there. The Michigan alums in the truck are not happy right now. Nice pull, though. Was that the blocked field goal return? That was a crazy play that ended that game. Yeah, Michigan had a game-winning field goal, or what they thought would be a game-winning field goal. It was blocked, returned for a touchdown. And App State won at the Big House.
It's truly shocking.
Unless you're an Ohio State fan, then I guess you expect it.
Corey Lynch, the star of that game, blocking that field goal attempt.
Who could forget? The Appalachian State folks still remember that one. We've heard from a few of those, some of them chiming in right now.
Sure.
Surprised that Brad hasn't brought that up to Craig Ritchie. That one is belted to first, but Guzman is right there. 2 outs.
Well, that's too bad with the infield drawn in. A ball hit that hard. If it's not hit directly at the defender, it probably gets through for a base hit and an RBI. But John Jay hit it right to Ronald Guzman in his tracks.
Well, both the left-hand hitters in this inning have made really solid contact against Springs. Avila and Jay. They'll give Goldie the free pass and work to AJ. AJ homered in the first, his 15th of the year. 1 for 3. Avila's at third, Goldie's at first, 2 outs. Springs got a curveball and a slider. Low to mid-90s fastball. That is tap foul with third. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game. AJ in the first off Bartolo Colon.
104 miles an hour off the bat. Projected distance of 420 feet to straightaway center.
Hard slider sailed on Springs. 1-2. Former Cardinals teammates John Jay, Daniel Descalso reunited in Arizona. AJ swing and a miss, and Springs gets his first big league strikeout. 7th inning on the way, 6-0 Diamondbacks. Lead the Rangers. Hey, when you combine the most provocative man in sports with the most interesting man in sports, you get a provocative and interesting program. Can't speak for yourself. Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. Weekdays at 2 only on FS1. Zach Godley and Wade Miley have something in common. Both working right now on 2-hit shutouts. Godley in the 7th leads Texas 6-0. Wade Miley has tossed 6 scoreless innings for the Brewers at Dodger Stadium. Miley's given up only 2 hits. Milwaukee leads 1-0. They're in the 7th in LA. Adrian Beltre 0 for 2 leads off the 7th. So our producer Brad the Big Dog Weimer, using that Michigan degree, Bob, has done some of the math on this. And if the D-backs hang on and win this one, the Rockies have already won in St. Louis. And if the Dodgers lose, LA will drop to 3rd in the National League West by percentage points, behind Arizona and Colorado. That's out of play. It took a Michigan man to figure that out, but that's what will happen if the D-backs win, and that's score in LA remains unchanged. Wade Miley working on a shutout at Dodger Stadium. Did you see what Jim Harbaugh said, speaking of Michigan?
I missed it.
He does not want his Michigan football players to eat chicken.
Okay.
Because they are nervous animals. Despite of all the nutritional aspects of the benefits of that, he said the chicken is a nervous animal by nature, and Michigan football players should therefore not eat chicken.
Well, what calm source of protein is
We need
there?
a more calm meat.
Like a sloth or something?
Yes, that's what they're serving in the cafeteria now. Worked for Wade Boggs anyway,
Yeah,
eating
it
chicken.
sure did.
He was not nervous up there at the plate. On his way to 3,000 hits. Jim Harbaugh used to come to Diamondback games. He was buddies with Tony La Russa, and he would sit over there with his glove and his khakis. And he's into it. When he goes to a baseball game, Jim Harbaugh, big Michigan or big baseball fan, he brings his glove.
Well, I'll give him that. That's what everybody should do if you come out to the ballpark. You got to bring a glove just in case a ball gets hit in your direction or Jim Harbaugh's looking for somebody to play catch with.
Godley trying to get rid of Beltre here. Zach has retired 13 of the last 14 he's faced, but he's worked at full now. 3-2 to start the 7th. Remember, he has struck out the first batter in all 6 innings so far. So the streak on the line right here. Yes, he went, Tim Timmons. Godley strikes out the first batter he faces in each one of the first 7 innings.
Well, the suggestion for the Michigan football team: the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com. Just don't get the barbecue chicken pizza.
Because, as Harbaugh says, it's a nervous bird. 10 strikeouts for Zach Godley. Has walked only 1. Here's Guzman, who's got some light tower power. We saw that in batting practice. Now, Ronald Guzman in batting practice. See where it says the draft room, craft beer and bites. People are sitting out there. That's a great seat out there, by the way. He was hitting them onto the tables out there in batting practice. Looks like he's trying to do that right now.
You know, and not just the distance that the ball traveled, but they left his bat and went almost straight up in the air. They looked like they were going to scrape the roof of the stadium before landing out there.
Yeah, they were majestic shots. Long way out there. Godley with his 10 strikeouts has tied his career high, accomplished twice last year. Zach at 95 pitches with 1 out in the 7th, 2-2 on Ronald Guzman. Looking for a career high 11th strikeout. Here it is. Ouch.
Guzman tried to insist that he got hit on that elbow guard earlier in the at bat. No doubt about that one. That's that cut fastball, starts inside, moves farther inside, catches him just on the outside of that right knee.
Here's Robinson Chirinos, the catcher. Chirinos with a single in the second has one of the 2 Rangers hits against Zach Godley. Bullpen phone with that hit batter rings in the Diamondback bullpen. Mike Fetter's down there. D-backs put 3 infielders on the left side against Chirinos.
When it gets to that point of the game, you know, Torey Lovullo and Mike Butcher would like to have Zach Godley feel really good about his outing here tonight. Quite possibly get back in that dugout without a run scoring for the Rangers tonight, just for his own peace of mind. I mentioned it's been 3 starts, an outstanding start against the Braves, but the last couple it's really been a labor for Zach.
It's very important for Torey Lovullo. He really likes his starter not only to get 21 outs, that is still a mantra, but he really likes the starter to finish the inning. He does not like to go out there and get the starting pitcher. He thinks there's real value in having the starter get that final out of the inning, be it the 5th, 6th, 7th, whenever. But he wants him to finish off that inning complete. There's Nick Alman. That was a bullet to left center. 2 outs in the 7th.
Looks like Inspector Gadget right there. That arm just kept extending farther and farther and farther out to the left to make that play. Looked like it was going to sneak through into center field, but Nick got to the spot and used that long wingspan to get that line drive.
Well, the D-backs have failed to find a way to retire Willie Calhoun. He had an RBI single as a pinch hitter last night, and tonight he has walked and singled. Yeah, cut at that curveball. .100 pitches for Zach Godley. 72 strikes. He has walked 1 and hit a batter. He's tied a career high with 10 strikeouts. Tried the changeup, missed. It's 1-1. Matt Moore, former Giants left-hand starter, now Ranger reliever. We saw him in the ball game last night. He's warming up in the Texas bullpen. There's a changeup, much better one that time from Zach, and he's ahead 1-2. Trying to get that career high 11 strikeout and finish off the 7th. Down the line and right, and out of play. Godley has struck out the first batter in all 7 innings tonight. He has also struck out the last batter in the previous 2 innings, the 5th and 6th. So there'd be some nice symmetry here if he can punch out Calhoun.
Zach Godley tonight with 12-0-2 counts against Rangers hitters.
About as dominant as you can be. Here's the 1-2. Short right center, AJ coming in. Zach Godley, 7 scoreless, 10 strikeouts. He leads it 6-0. Scoreless innings of 2-hit baseball. He matched a career high with 10 strikeouts, and the D-backs have a 6-0 lead. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. An off day tomorrow at home. Hello. And then the D-backs welcome in the San Francisco Giants for a 4-game set Thursday night. How about this to start? Madison Bumgarner against Zach Greinke. Randy Johnson will be in the booth with us for part of that ball game. Steven Souza Jr. leads off the bottom of the 7th against rookie left-hander Jeffrey Springs, making his major league debut. Souza tonight has walked, singled, and scored a run, 1 for 2. So Steven has now hit safely in 5 straight games, 8 of his last 9. Well, Springs has shown a curveball, a good hard slider. That was a changeup that time, and a mid-90s fastball.
Yeah, back-to-back changeups to start this sequence to Steven Souza, jumping ahead 0-2.
Fastball up high. There's a look at Steven on the DB TV board. There's the fastball, and Springs gets his 2nd strikeout. Well, a quiet night for Eduardo Escobar, 0 for 3, one of the new D-backs. He has flied out twice, grounded out. Well, Springs starting to get the feel for that changeup, 0-1. That one got just by Springs. Andrews from shortstop makes a terrific play to get Escobar.
Season tickets are on sale now for 2019. Secure the best seats for the lowest price and lock in benefits, including postseason priority, access to player events, discounts on merchandise, and much more. Call now at 602-462-4600 or log on to dbacks.com/tickets.
2 down for Descalso. Daniel singled and scored in the 4th. We're going to challenge that to call it first. Headsets are coming out. Tim Timmons, the first base umpire, heading over there. There's Angel Hernandez, the crew chief, from 3rd. Here's a look.
Nice play by Elvis Andrews to get the ball over there to first base.
Wow. Tim Timmons, the umpire who made the call on the left there. He'll be working the plate. Well, no, he won't, because this is the final game of the series. Let's take a look. I'm going to say he's the umpire that ejected Torey Lovello in St. Louis earlier this year on that Yadier Molina fracas. Well, that's a tough call.
That's a really close one. But isn't it just amazing? I mean, whether it was Abner Doubleday or somebody else that came up with the idea for this game, the idea that a good fielding shortstop can either go in the hole or up the middle of the field, make an acrobatic play, the out call will stay at home, or stand rather, at first base, and the play is bang bang at first base almost every time. You know, an average runner, an average defender, a super fast runner with a super good defender, it always comes down to a bang bang play over there at first base.
150 years later, it's still the perfect distance between the bases. It is amazing. Whoever decided 90 feet, whoever it was, they were spot on. I'm not sure they decided that one day we'd have robot umpires, but they got the bases right. The first really technological change probably was the lights, right? First time that technology ever sort of changed baseball and the way it's played.
Yeah, I would think so. Also the mode of travel, you know, going from
good
trains
call.
to planes.
Sometimes the lights work, sometimes, well, you know. Roof also, that's a good suggestion from the truck. Yeah, back in the day when they were traveling by train, the road trips would be like 3 weeks long, right?
Well, and they didn't go any farther west than St. Louis.
Yeah, also. Airline travel, there's another good one.
Yep.
Yeah, 1957 ended, and suddenly you got a team in LA and a team in San Francisco. TJ McFarland, the left-hander, starts to get loose in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Full count on Descalso, 3-2.
You think about the addition of Brad Ziegler. We've already got a left-hander that puts a ball on the ground with regularity, and now you've got a right-hander to do the same thing.
Descalso caught looking at a fastball. We head to the 8th. It's 6-0 D-backs. Diamondbacks lead the Rangers 6-0. Calling all kids between the ages of 10 and 16. If you'd like to be on TV, be part of the D-backs telecast, interview a player, go behind the scenes and see what it takes to produce a baseball game, come on out Sunday to Chase Field. It's the Fox Sports Arizona Sanderson Ford Kidcaster auditions from 11:30 to 1:30. Those take place at the Sandlot here during the D-backs and Giants game And this is it, your last chance to be a kidcaster. Final auditions for 2018 this Sunday at Chase Field. Double switch for Torey Lovullo. TJ McFarland, the left-hander, on to work the 8th inning. Ketel Marte takes over at second base, replacing Daniel Descalso. So Marte bats 9th. Pitcher spot now 6th in the D-backs order. Carlos Tocci, the center fielder, leads it off for the Rangers. Well, Bob, your staff has been very busy for a change. And we came up with some groundbreaking news, really. This is actually pretty impressive, all kidding aside. As you mentioned, Zach Godley tonight finished with 10 strikeouts, tied a career high, worked 7 innings. But Zach struck out the first batter he faced in all 7 innings tonight. Finished with 10 strikeouts. Well, we checked with Stats Inc. And they went all the way back to 1974. And they discovered, according to Stats Inc., that no pitcher for any major league team since 1974 has done that.
Really?
It hasn't happened ever since '74 for any pitcher on any team, striking out the first batter in each of the first 7 innings of a ball game. The only other Arizona pitcher to strike out at least 7 leadoff batters in a game, Randy Johnson, 7 on May 8th, 2001, and 8 August 15th, 04. Three and 2 on Tocci. Here comes Escobar, backhands it at third, and they can't get the out at first.
A nice effort by Eduardo Escobar. Has to reach all the way down to ankle level to get that ball. That's what really slowed it down enough to make a difference at first base. Boy, nice pick by Goldie on a tough hop right there. Yeah, the lower you have to bend over to get that ground ball, obviously you got to stand back up to make the throw, and just enough time to allow Tocci to reach there.
That's just the 3rd hit for Texas tonight. Jerickson Profar will bat for the pitcher. Profar, 251, 10 homers. He started at first base last night. Profar last night walked twice, scored a run, had an RBI single. Well, the Diamondbacks altered the shape of their bullpen today on trade deadline day. Brad Ziegler comes over from the Marlins for a minor leaguer. Jake Diekman came over from Texas on the other side of the ballpark, the visitors clubhouse, also for a minor leaguer. And to make room for Diekman, the D-backs had to designate Jorge De La Rosa for assignment. So now you've got Chafin back there. Chafin is not here right now. Andrew's on paternity leave, so he's gone home for a few days. And we wish he and his wife all the luck in the world. There's Profar, who pops one up first base side. Marte drifting over there. So in terms of your left-handers, you've got TJ, who probably goes into a long man role right now, and then you've got Chafin and Diekman as your lefties back there.
And just the different styles of pitcher. We mentioned TJ McFarland, a ground ball guy. Jake Diekman, big fastball in the upper 90s. Andrew Chafin, when he's on top of his game, has that big sweeping slider for a left-handed hitter. Got a variety of different looks from the right side. Really a well-constructed bullpen. You just hope they all pitch up to their capabilities.
Here's Chu, 0 for 3, struck out twice. And to make room on the 40-man roster for Brad Ziegler, who comes over from Miami, Shelby Miller was transferred to the 60-day DL. Silvino Bracho is here right now taking Chafin's spot while Andrew is on paternity leave. Bounce to Escobar at third. Marte for one, and they roll the double play. D-backs lead the Rangers 6-0.
Here, D-backs in control. Jody Jackson alongside Mark Grace as we get set for our post-game show. D-backs Live presented by CenturyLink. And as we wrapped up the pregame, you said you had a pretty good feeling about how Zach Godley would pitch tonight. He was excellent.
Well, the premonition is because it just seems like the last year and a half, Jody, this young man, every time the Diamondbacks have needed him to pitch in a big game, whether it was a big win they needed or whether he was pitching to get another start in the big leagues, he has shown up every single time and pitched well, and I expected it again tonight, and wow, that was impressive.
Well, we'll hear from Zach, and we'll hear from the manager, Troy Lavello, after the game. All of the post-game show, and the offense got to Bartolo Colon early on in this one.
Thanks, guys. Here's Matt Moore, the left-hander. We saw him briefly in the ball game last night. On to start the bottom of the 8th inning. Nick Ahmed will lead it off for the Diamondbacks. Nick's had another big night, a 2-run double. A walk. He has scored twice and knocked in 2 runs. So here tonight, Wade Miley, 7 scoreless innings of 2-hit ball for the Brewers at Dodger Stadium. And Milwaukee in the 9th inning in LA leads the Dodgers 1-0. So then 1 run has stood up. A Lorenzo Cain RBI. Miley is out of the ball game now after 7 scoreless of 2-hit ball. And here it was Zach Godley, 7 scoreless innings of 2-hit ball. So if the Dodgers hang on and lose and the D-backs hang on and win, LA will drop into 3rd place in the National League West, percentage points behind Colorado. The Rockies won in St. Louis today, and the D-backs would lead the National League West. They would be back to 11 games over 500 at 60-49.
Nick likes that ball down this year. We saw him golf that double down into the left field corner back in the 4th inning to drive home 2. Anytime he sees something from the middle of the thighs down, he is swinging at it.
Golf that double into left in the 4th inning, as you mentioned, to drive in 2 runs. Had a great defensive play from that game at Dodger Stadium. Brewers still lead 1-0 in the 9th inning. And Ahmed strikes out. It should be, by all rights, a tie game in LA at least. But watch this. Bellinger for the Dodgers off Miley. Lorenzo Cain in center for Milwaukee.
Oh, go get it.
takes a home run away. They're in the 9th inning. It's still 1-0 Brewers.
Lorenzo Cain is my new favorite player in the major leagues.
Wade Miley was terrific for Milwaukee tonight. Here's Avila, who has walked and singled. 1 for 2. Rockies won in St. Louis 6-3. They beat the Cardinals. Giants won earlier today at San Diego 3-2. Giants are in here for the first of 4 Thursday when Madison Bumgarner takes on Zach Greinke.
You don't suppose Mad Bum's going to take some ATVs out in the desert on the off day tomorrow, do you?
All right, Dan. Maybe we could talk him into it. Last time it was dirt biking in Denver that cost him a serious shoulder injury. There's Greinke. Zach 12-5. He'll go for his 13th win Thursday. Zach Godley in line for win number 12 here tonight. After that, it's Patrick Corbin, Clay Buchholz, and Robbie Ray for the rest of that Giants series before the Phillies are in here Monday for the first of 3. Get a look at Rhys Hoskins, a really exciting young right-hand power hitter for the Phillies. Get your tickets, dbacks.com. The homestand continues. 4 with the Giants and 3 with Philadelphia. Avila, that's by Andrews and into left center. Alex Avila on board for the 3rd time tonight, and another base hit against the lefty.
Boy, everything about Alex Avila's approach has been so much different in the second half of the season. More aggressive on pitches in the strike zone, driving them from foul line to foul line, still taking his base on balls if he doesn't get anything good to hit, and hanging in tough against lefties. Nicely done.
Ketel Marte's first at bat tonight, double switched into the ball game at second base. 249 and 9 homers. He had a couple of hits last night. He singled and tripled. Marte now with 10 triples this year. Matt Moore in his appearance last night walked 2 batters. He walked Owings in the 6th, and then John Jay gave up an RBI single to Eduardo Escobar. Marte hits this deep to center. Tochi there, and he's got it on the warning track. 2 outs. And here's John Jay again. Another productive night for Jay. He has singled twice, scored a run. He's got an RBI.
Probably the hardest hit ball off the bat of John Jay tonight came in his last at bat. A line drive in the 6th right to Ronald Guzman down there at first base.
Yeah, that one off the lefty Jeffrey Springs. Now up against another left-hander in Matt Moore. This is Sky to deep left center. Tochi over there with Calhoun, and it's Tochi, the center fielder. We head to the 9th inning at Chase Field. It's 6-0 Diamondbacks. Nothing as T.J. McFarland is back out there to start the 9th inning. Got an eye on Los Angeles, where the Brewers lead the Dodgers 1-0 in the 9th inning. This is where things stand right now. Look at that National League West.
Yeah, we kind of anticipated it was going to be a dogfight all year long. Going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, pennant races are big time fun,
aren't they? The
Oh.
Diamondbacks, if they can hang on, would get to 60-49. If the Dodgers can hang on and lose, they would be 59-49 and drop into 3rd place in the NL West behind Arizona and Colorado. Rougned Odor 0 for 3 leads off the Texas 9th. D-backs put 3 defenders on the first base side against him.
Diamondbacks play 3 infielders on the right side for Rougned Odor. He's grounded out to the shortstop, playing on the second base side of the field. He grounded out to Goldie, and then he grounded out to the second baseman on the right side of the field. Escobar and Nick Ahmed just swap positions. Third baseman Escobar on the second base side of the bag.
0-2 on the Rangers second baseman. That game in LA, by the way, just gone to the bottom of the 9th inning. Still 1-0 Milwaukee. Rockies winners in St. Louis 6-3. Giants beat the Padres at Petco Park 3-2.
Jeremy Jefferson for the Brewers. We'll face Chris Taylor, Manny Machado, and Matt Kemp in the bottom of the 9th.
Dodgers so far with only 2 hits. Wade Miley 7 scoreless in that start for Milwaukee. Swing and a miss. There's the sinker from TJ. Gets his first strikeout. That'll bring up Elvis Andrus, who's 0 for 3. Wade Miley will be the headliner after this one, or Wade Miley, Zach Godley. Zach 7 scoreless innings, gave up only 2 hits, tying a career high with 10 strikeouts.
Well, given what we know about those 2 guys, they're probably both proud of each other.
I'm sure they are. Both guys 7 scoreless innings of 2-hit ball today. Been an interesting night for Chris Siegel back there behind the plate. He's had a generous strike zone, certainly a pitcher's strike zone tonight, but he's been consistent with everybody. That's hard and through the hole. Andrews has a single. And in LA, Chris Taylor has flied out to lead off the bottom of the 9th. 1 out at Dodger Stadium.
Third baseman, Adrian Beltre.
Here's Beltre 0 for 3. That was just the 4th Rangers hit. In the air, right field, Steven Souza Jr. 2 outs. Don't forget, Gracie and Jody standing by. D-backs Live post-game show. Coming up next on Fox Sports Arizona, Gracie will have his thoughts. You'll hear from Bob. Kate will take you inside the Diamondback clubhouse. You'll hear from the skipper, Torey Lovullo, some of the players. As the D-backs look to win their 60th this year. They would go to 60-49. Ronald Guzman, the first baseman. Fastball's a strike. There's that two-seam sinker from TJ. Got him, and the Diamondbacks get the 2-game split. Zach Godley's 7 scoreless. McFarland works the 8th and 9th, and the D-backs beat the Rangers 6-0.
Boy, what an outstanding performance by Zach Godley tonight. He really needed one and went out there and put a career high in strikeouts. Totally in command from the first pitch of this ball game until he came out in favor of TJ McFarland.
Diamondbacks now 11 over 500. 60-49 for Torey Lovullo. Back with much more from Chase Field after this.